Many of you would know and love the baby and kids brand Snuggle Hunny, I'm sure. It's such a beautiful brand. I mean, aesthetically, in the quality of the products, and from my perspective as well, the brand's values, I think, are really beautiful. They're very much about sustainability and community. Well, today I have a real treat for you because I'm joined by Julie Mathers on the show, and she is the CEO of Snuggle Hunny. Some of you might also remember Julie as the original founder of Flora and Fauna, which is an online retailer of all things eco. And so she sold out of that business about 2.5 years ago and then went on to acquire Snuggle Hunny. And in the intervening couple of years, she has accomplished so much. It's quite incredible. A brand refresh, new website, a whole lot of new product development, the business becoming GOTS certified, which is a huge process, expanding overseas, and so much more. Now, of course, nothing is ever smooth sailing in business life, and it has been a wild ride for Julie over this last few years as an entrepreneur, but she has very generously and very graciously joined us on the show, and she shares the details of all of those ups and downs and what's really working right now to help her and her team grow this beautiful brand. I know you're going to love this conversation, so without further ado, let's welcome Julie onto the show. So, Julie, welcome back onto the show. I'm super excited to have you back.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much for having me back. It's, good. Give it a little update.
Yeah, I know, right? And it's been, I reckon, maximum 2 years, but you've packed a lot into this time in the last 2 years. I think you just
Yeah.
sold Flora and Fauna last time I spoke to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. So that would have been 2021-ish, I think.
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. Gosh, yes, I have packed an enormous amount in since then. So yeah, lots to unpack.
Lot to unpack. And so you are now the owner of Snuggle Hunny brand,
Yeah.
which is something that I know many of our listeners know very well and love, as do I. So can you tell us this story? I mean,
Yes.
this brand.
Gosh, so I was at Flora and Fauna. So I think I sold Flora and Fauna 2021, and then I exited July 2021, and I exited 2022, January, end of February 2022.
Yeah.
And when I sold it, I kind of intended to stay around, because I still had lots I wanted to do with F&F.
Yeah.
And then I realized I was working for a corporate.
Yeah.
And I went, oh,
Forgotten what that's like.
yeah, I'm like, this is actually not much fun at
Mm.
all. And so yeah, so we had a few, I'd say, disagreements. They wanted to do things a certain way, and I wanted to do things a different way, and never the twain will meet. So I decided around the October time, I actually had, just to share something a little bit, I suppose, personal, I suppose. I actually had a bit of a breakdown in the October.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it was on a call. It was on a call with some of the leaders from the company that I sold my business to, and it was all a bit very difficult for me. So that was the moment for me when I said, I need to leave.
Yeah.
I need to not be here anymore.
Yeah. Look after yourself.
Yeah, and that's it. And I'd sort of, and it wasn't enjoyable at all by that point. So everything that we had sort of done with the business and how we ran it, it was just different.
Yeah.
And I was, and suddenly it's, reporting come out of your ears, and Jesus, we're reforecasting every blooming week, it seemed, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's just not how we operated. We didn't look at a business through the lens of a spreadsheet. We looked at a business through the lens of our customers. And just never the twain will meet. So
yeah.
So that's when I said to Tom, I can remember at our house, we were sitting outside and on the steps, and I just went, I think I need to go. I think I need to go. So that afternoon, I rang up the CEO and I said, I'm resigning.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay, right. Does that mean Tom's going as well?
Oh no.
Like, yeah, both of us are going. Both of us are going.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was only on 3 months' notice. So
Wow. That's
yeah.
surprising.
Well, yeah, when I sold the business, I actually didn't have a tie-in at all. So there's no earn-out, there's no tie-in, because my point to them was, if it's an amazing culture, I'm not going to leave.
Yeah.
Um, and if you incentivize me to stay based on financials, then I'll make the wrong, well, I won't make the wrong, I will be, I will potentially not make the right decisions for the business.
Yes.
So you're operating with a different set of cards, really. So so yeah, so I only had 3 months. So the end of February, I left. However, in that period, I'd known the founders of Snuggle Honey for a long, long time, because I worked with one of the founders back in different Tom, but one of the founders back in Coles, gosh, years and years ago. He was in my team. He was the state manager for New South Wales. So I'd sort of we'd talked over the years, and then he came to me and was asking me if I think in the April, but so we hadn't even finalized the sale yet, but he said, you know, we're looking at selling the business, any advice, and blah, blah, blah. And we spoke over that period of time. And 6 months later, they hadn't sold the business. And then I was talking to him and I said, let me see if I can put you in touch with some people. And then I started thinking about it and I thought, this is a really good business. And I know I don't want to be in Flora and Fauna now. So maybe I could do this. and and that's when I spoke. Basically, someone who'd wanted to invest in Flora and Fauna, I reached out to them and said, would you be interested in coming into buying Snuggle Honey with me? And basically they were like, yes. 2 months later, we'd done the deal. And so I left. Yeah, I left F&F 28th of February, and the next day started Snuggle Honey.
Oh wow. That was, yeah, super quick in the end to do
Oh,
that
it was
deal.
so quick. It was so quick. In reality, I probably needed a break, but anyway, that's what happens, right?
I was going to ask, was there any kind of feeling of new lease of life or energy? I mean, you know, it's a different creative endeavor, but yeah, no actual physical break.
No physical break. I did feel good once I had made the decision to leave Flora and Fauna. That had been quite a weight on me. So I did feel a lot of relief once I'd made that decision. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm now really handing over.
Yeah.
So although I didn't have a break as such, I did, and it was very emotional leaving F&F. Like, it was really emotional. But yeah, but I kind of think I sort of, it is what it is, right?
You can't control it all in the end, can you?
No, can't control it, can't change it. It is what it is. So
Yeah.
yeah, so then started at Snuggle Honey. So that was gosh, 2.5 years ago now.
Wow, that's gone
Um,
fast.
that has gone
I'm
so,
looking in from the outside, of course.
I know, it's gone so quickly. And we've the whole team, I think bar two in the warehouse, all new. So we built the team because there wasn't much teams here. So we've built the team. We've done a lot in terms of a bit of a refreshing of the brand, and we've introduced lots more products. So we now have a lot of collections being released.
Yeah.
Extended our sizing to size 4.
I
Really.
wondered that's how how your son could be modeling the that.
Yes. Well, and now because my boys are now 4 and 5,
Yeah.
they're kind of at the edge of it. So I'm going, I think we need to increase to like 6. And we do get asked a lot, particularly in dresses, can you go bigger on the sizing? So yes. So we've done quite a lot, and we've also become GOTS certified organic. So yeah, and that's very hard to do because your whole business has to get GOTS certified. So a lot of brands abuse the term GOTS. because unless you are certified as your workplace, because they look at everything from how you dispose of your waste, and you have to have all the correct labeling in the warehouse, and you have to have, if you have GOTS products and non-GOTS products, they have to be separated, and it's quite strict criteria. And they
Mm.
also talk to the team as well and make sure this is, good workplace to be in. So
Mm.
we get audited every year on that now, and so we're just about to go into our third audit.
Wow. That sounds a bit like the B Corp type
Yes.
process. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite similar. I think because we were a B Corp at F&F, and that's I think it's every 3 years now that you get audited at B Corp, but it's similar.
Mm. Mm.
So we've been busy.
Yeah, that's huge. So much. I mean, from the outside looking in, we can see all of the stuff that happens on the facade with the brand refresh and the beautiful new products and the imagery and things like that. But yeah, lots going on behind the scenes as well.
Oh, so much. And we've got such an amazing team. And I think one of the things that's been really, really amazing for us is the community that we've built.
Yeah.
So we have a thriving Facebook, well, we've got a thriving community, and we have a Facebook group where everyone talks on the Facebook group, but it is beautiful and positive. And if you want to fill your cup up, it's a great place to be. And I'd say that's the probably the thing I'm most proud of actually in the last 2.5 years.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the value for, like, how do you kind of present that as something to invite a customer to join?
Yeah, it's a good point, because we launched it in November, and I just went, "Why is this going to work? Is this not going to work?" And then it just has. And so how we do it now is, a lot of people just hear about it through friends of friends and communities, and so they hear about it and then they kind of want to get into it. But also after a customer shops, one of the emails they get is, "Do you want to join our Facebook group?" And we show them some of the content that you might get in the group,
Mhm.
because we get 40 plus posts a day in that group,
Wow.
um,
Yeah.
from customers wanting to show off their babies because they're beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so we show that, and and if it's yeah, it's a really awesome, positive space to be.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like the kind of group that I've seen some brands do where they just putting up a discount for a product every day and there's nothing else going on.
Yeah, no, in fact, we don't do that at all. We do some fun stuff. So one thing we did on the weekend was we did a games night. So, and it was brilliant. And so Nikita, who moderates and runs our group, she's phenomenal, and she organized this games night. And so I think it's like Sunday at 7 o'clock, and we'll do things. This one was the last one, you had to take pictures, and you had to you might go take a picture of your Snuggle Honey outfit with a coffee cup or something. So you couldn't have them stored in your phone, you got to do them on the fly. And
Yeah.
it first comment wins. And this time we asked them like trivia.
Yeah.
When was Snuggle Honey founded? All sorts of different things.
Yeah.
And take a picture of Snuggle Honey with the Olympics. And so we had lots of, but we get like 100, 200 comments on each question. So
That's cool.
it's just fun. Yeah, we just try to make it fun.
Yeah. How cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Lots of fun.
yeah.
Gosh, I could go down a rabbit hole with groups,
I
but
know.
keep it on the story.
I know. It's like, tell me more.
Tell me more, exactly. So in the last 2.5, what is it, like 2.5-ish years, your previous business that, had been acquired by a big company, that holding company then went under.
Yes.
As you know, I suppose it has been a tough kind of period post-COVID for a lot of businesses in e-commerce, and that
Yeah.
was a bit spectacular because they had acquired a number of
A
brands,
lot.
including Flora and Fauna, Nourish
Yeah.
Plus, and a few others.
Yeah. Go to, big one.
O2, yes,
Yeah.
I remember that headline in the media was
Oh gosh, yeah.
pretty out there and loud.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, no, they had a number. It was quite you sort of saw the writing on the wall a little bit as the
mm,
share price was just tanking and tanking and tanking, and you're there going, how's this going to work? And they had an enormous amount of debt.
yes,
Um, and yeah, when stuff starts coming out, and I think they were, yeah, oh yes, that's right. They had some stuff around irregularities with accounting and all sorts of stuff.
Oh gosh, I don't think I read that bit. I just
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
there's
that, they'd promised to buy out the last of Go-To skincare, and obviously they didn't have the cash flow for that. But
yeah, there's a few things. There's a few things. I think they brought forward sales
uh,
for
yeah,
some of the bigger retailers by going, yes, please do commit to this, but then recognizing those sales in the year
wrong
that.
quarter. Yeah, well, yeah. Mm.
Yeah. So there's a few things. So it was a bit of a house of cards,
Yeah.
which yes, which then yes. So they went.
And that was so soon, though, after you had exited the business, really. It must have been quite sad for you guys to see.
It was really sad. It was pretty much a year after we left.
Yeah.
So it was really sad to just see all of that happen. And then you see, because you also know the impact that it has on the team as well.
Yeah.
And
And were some of your team still there, the team you'd built?
yeah, quite a few of them were still there. Because they were big fans of the brand, but also the values
Mm.
and the purpose and the values that we had. And they were sort of they were there because of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when it all started imploding, it hurts more, I think.
Mm.
Because you want it to work.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And were you at all tempted at that point to kind of rescue it, step back in?
Um, I mean, my plate was really full with Snuggle Honey. So when I saw it going initially south, I was kind of observing and going, oh, I did have a conversation before they went into administration. I did have a conversation with someone who was, oh yes, because I'm just remembering exactly what happened now.
Yeah.
Because actually they tried to sell Flora and Fauna and Nourish Life together
Right.
before they went into administration. So they'd been trying to sell them for, I don't know the exact time, but around about 6 months-ish, I think.
Yeah.
They've been trying to sell them for some time. I think the mistake they made was they said they must be sold together, and they should have just sold them individually.
Yeah.
But they were a bit just kind of nope.
A little bit too pig-headed about their
Yeah,
wishes.
I think that's probably a really good way to describe them. Really, um, and and so I was having a chat with someone at the time who was looking at looking at buying them and putting an offer in, and he was just asking me sort of my thoughts and all that sort of stuff. So, and at the time just going, oh, would you be a brand representative and stuff? And I'm like, yeah, it's not really my style.
Mm.
You
You're
know,
like the all-in type person, I
correct,
observe.
correct. I'm in or I'm not in, but I'm not an influencer. So let's put it like that. I'm not gonna stick my name to something if I can't be
Yeah.
fully on the steering wheel, basically. Um, so yeah, so at that point I was like, oh, yeah, but I was keeping a really clear eye on it. And then when the administration actually did happen, that's when the owner of HealthPost gave me a call and said, would you be interested in looking at buying them? Because now they were just in a process of basically
Like a
selling
fire
it.
sale
It
type
is
thing. Yeah.
fast, yeah. And with that, it's so interesting because it's done in such a quick manner. And they wanted to get rid of Flora and Fauna and Nourish Life first, I think because they were probably the easiest things to deal with. And it's at that point where I was like, God, I don't know. I don't know. I can remember exactly. I was on a run. I was on a bush run when I was having this conversation going, this is a lot to take in. And do I want to go on that? Do I want to do this again? But I
Mm.
sort of, and I thought, does Tom want to do that? Because I have not had this conversation with him yet.
Yeah, I was wondering how that went down when you had that conversation, because you guys always built it together.
We did build together. He wasn't keen. He wasn't massively keen at the outset because of how busy we are.
Yeah.
And he knows that I'm not good at doing something unless I'm all it. Like I just give 150% to everything.
Yeah. And it's exhausting, I guess.
It is exhausting. And I think he was a bit concerned for me and can I do it? And I'm not sure he was super keen on reopening the chapter again, but he was very supportive of me doing it. So
Yeah.
um so yeah, so we had that conversation. We just had to make a decision really quickly, and I said, yes, let's basically try and save it and see what we can do.
Yeah. 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 I was
Okay.
saying it was like a really quick process and turnaround for having to make a decision and get an offer in.
Exactly. It was super quick. It was like basically I had to put the offers in, I think the indicative offers by the end of the first week.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it was really, really quick. And then could do a small amount of due diligence. And to put it into cut, which was like honestly like a week. It was all of this process was super quick. And to put that into context, when we sold Flora and Fauna, we started the process in August, and the thing was finalized in the following July. So
Wow. Nearly, yeah.
yeah, nearly a year.
And you had to
And
do it in a week.
we had to do it in a week. And I mean, it was helpful that I really understood the business. And I think that was probably certainly helped Health Post a lot in terms of me understanding what was what the business was about. So I had some of the answers, like didn't really need to ask for information because I already had it.
Hmm.
So that was good. But yeah, it was super quick process. And then the offer was accepted, and then we rebought it.
Crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So that was, I think, May last year, May 2023. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, a little while ago, I can't actually remember when it was. I saw you share a post on LinkedIn saying, you really helped Health Post through that process and kind of getting the businesses back on the ground, up and running again. And now you're back fully with Snuggle Honey. Is that right? And you've
Yeah.
parted ways?
Yeah. So I exited. To be quite frank, I think, I like to be in control of things, and it's very difficult for me to be on the sidelines watching how a business that I used to run is being run.
Yeah,
So,
fair
uh,
enough.
yeah, and I didn't enjoy it at all.
Yeah.
Um, and so it sort of got to the point where they suggested that maybe you want to, maybe we will take your shares off you basically, or buy your shares off you. So so that's kind of how it all sort of ended up in the end. And I think for me, for my mental health, I think that's probably the best decision.
Yeah. And
Difficult.
I can only imagine how tough it must be to make all of these decisions. But I mean, as a customer of both of those businesses, I'm glad that they're still around. So
Yeah. It's good they're still around, and in some form, and doing what they're doing. Yeah, it's difficult. I think I'm still probably just grieving the whole thing a little bit in reality.
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I was talking to someone the other day about this, and I said mental health is not talked about remotely enough amongst founders.
It's not, no. And it's such a wild ride.
It's
It's
an enormously
really
wild ride. Yeah,
mm,
it's a hugely wild ride. And yeah, and it plays it, gosh, I know people who have coaches and all this sort of stuff, and I kind of get it. I
mm,
don't. I
mm.
don't. I'd be too frustrating for anyone. But I
We
think
all have to find our way though, right? Like that's the
people
right thing
find
for
a
some
way.
people.
Yeah, a friend of mine has a coach that she sees once a month, and she just really just helps sort her out. Um, and I think, yeah, I think you've got to find your way that works for you,
Yeah.
so that you can stay as balanced as you can be
Mm,
in what is quite a turbulent environment at times.
sure is. Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
w- I
yeah,
work with a mindset coach in that kind of a capacity on a semi-regular basis, and
yeah,
I've done that off and on for years, and it's just I don't know, it's just kind of it's like a little moment where I get off the merry-go-round for an hour
yeah, yeah,
and just go through some exercises to really kind of pull back and get some perspective and take the cortisol levels down a few notches and all the rest of it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's I think it's a good thing, right? Just to sort of think a little bit, yeah, you just got to do what you can do.
Yeah.
I think. And I've actually just started last week, a wine course because I'm fascinated in wine. I collect wine. I love just getting right into the nuts and bolts of wine
Yeah.
and how grapes are grown and the yeah, the different the different sort of gosh, I can't even get my words out. Different elements of them.
There's a lot of chemistry that goes into the winemaking process, isn't there? Yeah.
Huge amounts of chemistry, huge amounts of chemistry, and depending on, and then a lot of blending. There's all sorts that goes into it. So, so I think it's fascinating. And I think it was about 17 years ago I did my wine. There's a body called the Wine Society and Education Trust, and I got and I did my WSET levels 2 and 3. Loved it. And anyway, 17 years, it's a lifetime ago, right? So I don't even remember, so I'm doing them again. So I'm doing my WSET 2 at the moment, and that's every Saturday for the next month or so with an exam at the end. And it's great because on Saturday I go to TAFE in Ryde, and I just talk about wine all day. And
So different from your every other day of the week.
Exactly. And I did it last week, and I came back and I said, God, I feel so refreshed. I feel really refreshed and just ready to go again a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah. So whatever, but you've got to find your thing, whatever works for you.
Everything. Yeah. I'm kind of looking forward to not being a swimming parent and having a bit of time to actually have a hobby as well.
Oh yeah. Oh God. Actually, yeah, we're not at that stage yet. Yeah.
Maybe don't
Way
choose swimming for your kids because it's like it would be, I mean, the load, it's like having another
really.
business on top of a business. It's
Oh,
crazy
oh
sport.
gosh. Okay. Yeah. We'll
Yes.
we'll try to refine our children's sports.
Uh, I, I really wanted to ask you about how different it is as an experience building your own brand versus
Yeah.
building a retail business where I mean, I know you had your own kind of
Yes.
own brands
Right.
in Flora and Fauna, but largely it was other people's brands that you were selling.
100%. So different. And I love it. I think it's an enormous amount of fun because also you are very, very close to the customer and close to their feedback. You are in both businesses, but we have people in our Facebook group going, e.g., oh, I want the dresses to be in a bigger size, or when you're doing zippies, or can we get prints in whatever it is?
Yeah.
And you see that feedback, and you're just so close to the customer but you can deliver and execute on that. And for me, I really enjoy it. I really enjoy product development. Love creating, love launching products, love seeing them out in the world. And so it's that bit absolutely wonderful. And then I suppose the difference is we're doing this a year ahead, if not longer, of when we're launching them. We're committing to stock that we hope is going to sell, but maybe it doesn't. Or the world has a new COVID or whatever it is. And things happen. So the commitment is great because you are so far out. So it's and you've got to make forecasts on that, right? So it's a very different type of business. And yeah, some of the, I suppose, the things which are a bit easy with F&F is great. I place an order from the supplier and it's delivered the same week, and I don't have to commit to stock because that's what they've done. But then we had 11,000 products at Flora and Fauna, and we've got about over 1,000 now at Snuggle Hunny. It's probably a little bit too many. Yeah, it's actually quite a lot. It's actually
a lot, actually.
we probably need less. In fact, Tom tells me every day we need less because we can't fit them in the warehouse. So we have whenever we look at new collections, we always have a battle of wills because he's
Yeah.
going, Julie, the warehouse is a finite space. And I'm going, oh, yeah, but. So he has me on a one in, one out policy at the moment. But anyway,
Yeah.
um,
Hilarious.
so yeah, so it's completely different. But I do love building a brand. Like I love retail because I really enjoy trading,
Mm,
and that for me is a lot of fun. But I do love building a brand, and it is different, and that's what's kind of fun about it.
mm.
You're
It's
doing
like
different
kind of,
things.
it's got its own personality almost, really. It's like a,
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, it's like what you were saying before. You're saying you love building brands.
yeah,
I love it too. It's
yeah.
and you're developing something that, particularly in our space, people get quite a massive emotional attachment to.
Mm,
Uh, and I always feel quite humbled that parents will choose our jersey wraps or our muslin wraps or our bodysuits or grow suits, whatever it is, to be their baby's first outfit.
yeah,
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 for the birth announcement photo. And it's always, whenever you see that, it's pretty humbling.
yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Mm,
the most precious thing to them in their world, and they're incorporating Snuggle Honey in it. It's
yeah,
beautiful.
it is gorgeous.
Yeah. So yeah, so different, really different.
Different. I feel like, I don't know if you feel like this too, but it's like it kind of scratches the creative itch as well as,
Mhm.
when you really like numbers. I really love numbers as well. It's like you
Yeah.
can be analytical and creative in that business model. It's good.
Yes, 100%. I'm big fan of numbers. And we've actually just brought our, not just, we did it in February. We now run our performance marketing in-house.
Yep.
Mm. And I strongly advocate for it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Everyone should know how to do this.
Everyone should know how to do it. You should just figure it out. I was talking to someone last night and he went, oh, how do you find the time? And I went, you just do.
Hmm.
And I said, but you know your brand better than anyone.
Hmm. Yeah.
So,
And that side of it is so much more important now because of the
yeah,
the reliance on creative. And at the
yeah,
end of the day, having that innate understanding of that, it's what draws the customer in and what the brand, means to those customers. You know that better than anyone else. So, yeah.
100%.
But
Yeah,
also understanding from a numbers perspective, when you outsource it, you just don't understand it in the same way.
yeah, correct. I look at our ad account every single day,
Yeah.
and I know people who use agencies, and it's no right or wrong. It's just that they never look at the ad account because the agency gives them a report at the end of the month. The end of the month's too late.
It's too late. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the ad account multiple times a day, just
Yeah.
having a look at it, analyzing it, seeing what ads are working, what's not working, and if something is working, well, then you want to push it.
Yep,
Um,
you do. And when it's not, you're also getting ideas for what you're going to do
correct.
next. So,
Yeah, yeah. It's you should totally have control on that. So yeah, I'm with you. I love the numbers aspect. Yeah, it's quite I love numbers. I really love trading. I have and coming up with different ways to trade, like not just going, here's 30% off, because geez, that's boring. Uh,
yeah,
but make it fun.
people switch off to that after a while, I think.
Oh, they do, yeah. It's kind of like think differently, have fun with it, and just think as a shopper, how would you like to shop?
Hmm.
Um,
I saw an interesting fact yesterday, and this came from someone who talks a lot about Google and traffic generally and things like that. But that in this year, which obviously, we're all probably sick and tired of hearing the cost of
yeah,
living and blah, blah, blah. But the highest search terms is about value is like the best, blah, 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 not the cheapest. And so, you get a whole lot of businesses who just go for the knee-jerk discount to try and shift stuff, but it's not talking about the value at all. So
that's fascinating,
I
actually.
was really fascinated. It's like we need to
Yeah.
practice a bit more, girl math or whatever that
Yeah,
funny story was.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's very, very well. I wonder whether the likes of Temu has a role to play in that as well, because Temu and Temu particularly is growing at such a rate of knots, and
Understand that platform.
it's horrific. It's absolutely horrific, right? And you search for anything online, and pretty much most of the shopping, the shopping campaigns that come from Google or Temu will be up there. I find it so infuriating because it's such rubbish that they sell.
It's absolute rubbish. Yeah.
Absolute rubbish. And so I wonder whether I'm hoping that if people shop on Temu, they have really terrible experience and realize
I'm
that
sure they would, because it is absolute rubbish and they'll use it once and it will
rot.
fall to pieces.
Yeah, you just get such rot.
Yeah.
And so I wonder whether people are kind of going, oh, I just need something that's good, not cheap.
Oh, so I can buy it once and then keep it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's. I was reading a stat that I think Temu is now overtaking Alibaba or something.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah, something like that. Anyway,
Hmm.
we should be like as retailers, we shouldn't be worried about competition amongst ourselves. We should be worried about Temu.
Agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's yeah.
You can't then take that and, follow their model, which is massive deep discounting, because that's the fastest way to the bottom, isn't it?
Exactly. And you'll go out of business and
Yeah.
then you don't have a brand, and then people just shop with you for price, and you can't compete on price.
No.
So don't.
You
So
might for a short while, but then, like you say, you'll go out of business.
yeah.
I know, I'm sure I've heard you on a podcast before, and this would have been a while ago, I reckon, but talking about how important it is to really focus on that bottom line, not just knowing your numbers from a marketing and conversion perspective, but the bottom line as well. And I'd say, at least that I've met, there's a lot of what I would call purpose-driven brands that feel a bit guilty about making a profit, and they don't like
Yeah.
to focus on that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't see why you shouldn't, right? Because the ideal, I think, is that every business becomes a better business. It becomes a purpose, and you have your business being a purpose-driven business, and that's totally fine to make a profit. Like, you should make a profit from it. Now, of
It's
course,
a healthy business at
it's
the
a
end of the day.
healthy,
Yeah.
exactly. It's a healthy business, and it's healthy in every single aspect. You're doing good.
Mm.
You're doing good, not just in maybe what you give charity wise, but in how you buy your products. Like all of our factories are audited, and we've been to the factories, and people are paid fairly, and it's right from the source of whatever you do
Mm.
throughout the whole business. And you should, and if you can have that in your business model and make a profit, brilliant, because
Yeah.
you're also setting an awesome example for others to want to do the same thing,
Yeah.
and 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 for existing businesses to perhaps make some better decisions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what's been a bit unfortunate this year is we've had a few I'd say more purpose-driven businesses go out of business, which doesn't help either. And they may have gone out of business, I mean, and there's so many businesses gone out of business anyway, right? So, I think it's an enormous shame what's happened to Booktopia.
I know. Yeah. I buy values. I've refused to buy books off Amazon now because I feel like they've killed them.
Yeah, it was so sad. I actually had two books still en route.
No.
Think are now not en route, but anyway, but yeah, and that was, and when you looked at Booktopia, it was a really healthy business. I think
Yeah.
they made a few not great decisions recently, but it doesn't take long to fall
No.
either.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. It's tough. It is. And yeah, hopefully listeners of this particular episode will take some inspiration from you and just make sure they do look at the numbers a little more frequently. Use it.
oh, absolutely, and really focus on your your number coming out at the end of the month. The other thing I think is really important is to look at your cash.
Yeah.
Like, profit's one thing, but really focus on your cash and do this daily. And it's very, there are different challenges with my previous business to this one with Flora and Fauna, because we were effectively a reseller. Mostly the margins were wafer thin for us. So we were so focused on our operational expenses, and we were all over this daily because
Yep.
anything that went wrong could really cause issues for us. and we didn't have investment or anything to fall onto here. This was just, it's almost like it's, if something goes wrong, it's Tom, it's our house. It's,
Yeah, it's
that's
your livelihood. Yeah.
yeah. So that's a different business. And then now with Snuggle Honey, it's a different kind of business in that it's more profitable because we wholesale our stock, but you're buying, so you're committing to millions of dollars in like so far ahead.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, exactly. The stakes are higher,
Yeah.
much. And if you get it wrong, oh God, you've really got it wrong.
That's
So
why you really need to understand that customer and have that close relationship, but also the marketing piece.
absolutely got to get your marketing piece. Don't be an ostrich. Don't let there be any surprises.
Mm.
And equally, it's things like employees and things like that. Everyone, you need to have if you have a team, have a great team. But if times are really tough, do you need everyone? There's all those very tough decisions we all have to make.
Yeah, exactly.
Not easy.
No, does it not get any easier when you've made several big tough decisions? I mean, you have over your career.
Yeah. I don't think perhaps some of the decisions that you make are easier to make. And
Yeah.
I think Tom openly says that he should have moved on a couple of things a lot quicker at F&F than he did. And now he
Now he
like,
does because it's
he
got
does.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you live in, so I think you have lived experience, right? So you just
Yeah.
learn that, and I think make some decisions quicker.
Yeah.
But yeah, but then you could also just make a whole bunch of new mistakes, right?
Well, that's the risk as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think one of the important things is not to assume stuff.
Mm.
I think that's been a big lesson for me. I've always just leave your ego at the door a little bit, and or a lot, and don't assume, and listen to your team and listen to your customers, and that's always really important in terms of trying to solve a problem.
Yeah. I want to ask you one more question, if I may,
Yeah.
and that is, I want to know what's coming up next for you. I mean, you just have, so many big ideas, and I know you're a visionary, and you are now forced to think and work so far ahead.
Yes.
What are we allowed to know? What's exciting and what's coming?
What can we tell you? What can we tell you? So there's lots. So for me, it's like Snuggle Honey is my other than my children,
Yeah.
is my only focus.
Yeah.
And Tom's probably in there a little bit too, but and just a little bit. And so we've got so much going on. I was going through the strategy deck with the team the other day, and we were going through everything, and I said, yeah, half of this we've already done because we've had to, because we're planning so far ahead. So for us, we've got lots more exciting new collections coming. We've got we're going into some new products, which is, when is this episode coming out?
Probably towards the end of the month.
Okay. Well, there's probably something which I can't quite say yet, but I'll kind of do hints of it in that, because it'll only be coming out about 6 weeks later.
Yeah.
We've got
a spring.
It'd be about October time. Some really cool sort of Minnie and me matching stuff.
Exciting.
I'm overly excited about this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm beyond excited.
Yeah.
So there's lots happening in the product area, which is amazing, and then we're actually focusing quite a bit on it international too.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah, which is very, very cool. Our international sales have grown by about 600% since February,
Wow.
which actually is also when we took on the marketing.
Yeah.
So this is also one of the helpful things when you're doing it yourself, you can push things differently. So,
Yeah.
so they've grown quite a bit. So we're focusing very much on international, and I think that's sensible for anyone. Just so I think we've all been burnt from the last few years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of spread your risk a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I talk about that a fair bit actually, having not
Yeah,
all your eggs in the one basket in many
yeah,
different parts of your business. Yeah.
yeah, 100%. And it could be, I mean, it could be country locations, couldn't it? But it also could be product or, different things, or
Yeah.
marketing. We're all so overly reliant on Facebook,
Mhm.
which we just are, but then are there other areas that we can look at with marketing? So yeah, they're the sort of that's a biggie for us. We're just relaunching in fact, by the time this episode is out, we will have launched our new global website. So
Oh, great
yeah,
fun.
I know. I have to say, I've worked it out now. I've done about 10 website launches in my life, and I think I'm good.
You get through that one, you think that's the last one I'm ever going to do. 2 years' time, you'll be doing another one.
Exactly. I know. I'm thinking, no, I can't do it. But yes, that's a big project that we've got going on right now. So there's a whole ton of stuff happening. And gosh, at some point we're probably gonna have to move warehouse because we're bursting out the seams on this one. So
Who's going to win that argument, you or Tom?
oh, I think Tom's keen to move. So so then I can have even more product. So yeah, but yeah, that will probably happen at some point.
Uh, that's super exciting. Well, I'd say probably one of my favorite elements of building a brand is the whole product launch type campaign. So I'm looking forward to seeing how you roll this out with all the new stuff. I'm
Oh,
sure it'll
thank
be,
you.
look beautiful with all of the imagery. Maybe your kids might be in there a little bit.
Yes, we've got them. I think, are they in this next campaign? I'm not sure they're in this next collection, but they are in a couple coming forward. They're actually the worst models. They just like, every time, because we have some amazing little like we all of our little models from the community. So they're all from mostly from our Facebook group.
Yes.
And so it's quite beautiful because whenever we have a shoot, you meet all, I mean, you do meet some dads as well, actually, but you do meet a lot of mums and
Yeah.
grandmas and all that sort of stuff. And it's one of my favorite things is just talking to them when we go to the shoots. And we do have some phenomenal little models. And then I bring my two rugrats along, and I just say to them, Alfie, just stand still, just stand still. And he's just all over the show. And then I'm kind of like, Woody, I need you to stand up. He's perfectly capable of standing up and walking. And he's quite funny because he knows it's a photo shoot. So he goes into the middle of the studio and plonks himself down and just sits there. And he's just waiting to be, shot, photoed. And I'm going, oh, Woody, I need you to stand up. And he's like, no. So I'm like, I probably should just not bring my children.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So I got Alfie to do a TikTok with me. There was a trend, and I'm way too old to do this, but there was a trend going on. I went, I think I can get Alfie to do this. So I said, Alfie, let's go do some dancing.
Yeah.
We went upstairs and actually he did a pretty decent job. But yeah, he has his own mind.
I wonder where he gets that from.
Exactly. I know. Tom always says that to me. He's like you, he is.
Oh, hilarious.
Yeah. Good luck.
Well, yes, like I said, I'm super excited to see what's going to come, and I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun and so be hopefully a huge success for you. So,
Yeah.
it's been a huge couple of years for you. I really am so, I don't know, just so impressed by you. You're a pretty fabulous human being
Oh,
and entrepreneur.
oh, thank you. Thank you. I'll be honest, I never feel fabulous. And Tom, I think, sees the raw side of me in terms of where I'm second. And I reckon a lot of people are like this, particularly entrepreneurs and stuff. You second guess yourself a lot.
Hmm.
And you don't. I'm terrible at celebrating success or just going, you did a good job, Julie. It's like, nope, next thing. And think probably overly critical of myself. So thank you.
Typical achiever.
Yeah, exactly. Not good enough, not good enough.
Yeah. Thank you though for jumping back on with me and sharing your story with our audience again. It's been wonderful. So we will definitely share all of the Snuggle Honey links for anyone who's living under a rock and doesn't know where to find.
Yes, you'll love what's coming up.
Yeah, we will definitely share it. So thank you, Julie.
Thank you so much.